You need to get out of here. Dude, I love you. You're my best friend. You need to get out of here. So my best friend from NYU, his name is Moose. Well, Moose and Nick, but his name is Moose. We share like everything with each other. So transparently enough, we played the national championship game my sophomore year and we lost. And for about an hour and a half, I don't think I spoke to anybody. I was like distraught. There was a play at the end where like I missed a shot and I felt like I tripped over my feet. Like I felt like I had a good look, but just it didn't work out. I was super upset. I didn't talk to anybody, whatever, whatever. Um, and then we had our like end of year banquet, I think, because we were forced to go, like all with all our parents and stuff like that. We're walking back to our hotel afterwards, and he's talking about like next year, next steps, whatever, whatever. And I'm trying to like talk to him, we're like, yeah, like we'll get back here. And he was like, no, we won't. You need to get out of here. And I was like, what are you talking about? He was like, dude, I love you. You're my best friend. You need to get out of here. So I was like, I had no intention, like truly zero intention of entering the portal at any point during the year. It was like I was saying, I was being present, I was having fun with what I was doing. I was enjoying that we were winning so much, but like I was focused on what was happening, focused on the now. And then the now ended and it was like, oh, like this is a possibility for me. So talked to my parents for a little while, talked to some people. My coach ended up leaving too, which was a part of that, I think. But I was like, hey, I have the opportunity to let's see what I can get. So I put my name in the portal. Didn't even know how the portal worked. I had to ask people and text people. I was like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. All I know is people post it on Instagram and it looks cool, and then uh, they commit 2 weeks later. So I had to text my AD and I was like, hey, like, what do I do? Had my name in the portal for a little while. Maybe 15 minutes after I entered it, I probably got 4 or 5 emails from D2 coaches. Got a couple scholarships, which was crazy in and of itself because at D3, like you're paying for school. So when I got the call, I was like, wow, like this is a scholarship offer. Like I can go to school for free. This is before NIL boomed to what it is today. But that was so crazy. And I talked to some coaches, had a couple of great calls. And then I found out my coach was leaving. We had been talking about like what the plan was for a couple weeks, but he officially left. And then I think a day and a half after he had left, he texted me and he was like, "Hey, my brother-in-law is Columbia's new coach. He's interested in you. Like, what would you think?" I was like, "Let's see. I love New York. I like school. Columbia's in New York. Columbia's a pretty good school. I'm interested."
Very good. It's an
So
elite school.
yeah, so I went up there. I was talking to Columbia, to Brown, and to Colgate. Like for like the final schools that I went to, all that were up my alley of high academic good basketball schools. So talking to those three, went to Columbia, had a great time on my visit. And then I ended up committing. So it was an interesting jump because I was up in the air about what I was going to do. I didn't even think that I was going to leave, and then things just happened pretty quickly. I got a call. I was going to visit 4 days later, and then I committed probably a week after that. So things happened pretty quick.
You are a very rare person to transfer into the Ivy League during college.
My mom's a teacher. My dad has worked for the state of New Jersey, or did work. He's retired now, but from since I can hold a pencil, they were like, "This basketball thing is cool. Glad you enjoy it. I hope it takes you far. You need to have a good education." So I was in private school, blessed to be in private school since I was in sixth grade, I think. So I was in private school for a while in the Princeton area, which is known for being rigorous academic in high school and college. Went to a really, really good high school, called the Lawrenceville School in New Jersey. Had a good GPA there, had like a 3.38, 3.9. So had a good GPA at Lawrenceville, which got me in NYU. And then I had the grades at NYU, which got me into Columbia, which is what I try to tell people because obviously it's different now with how much NIL is. There was always the dream of, if you go to NBA, you can make millions. Now it's a step more attainable for some people. It's like if you are good enough in college, you can probably make seven figures or 6 or 7 figures, which is a significant amount of money. But, like you had mentioned, like, I have been to 2 of the best schools in the country. So regardless of if basketball doesn't work out, if I get God forbid, if I get injured or just lose a get left for the game or something like that, like, I'll have something to fall back on, which is what I'm excited about, and I also have a 5th year now, which is great. So I get
Yeah.
the benefit of going to 2 great schools and still being able to make money, hopefully. So I think I'm in a good spot in terms of everything. But it was definitely important for me to have a good academic backbone just because you don't know what can happen in life. Like there's a lot that can go wrong, unfortunately, because that's just how life is sometimes. Sometimes it's not fair. And if you have as many plans as you can, I think you'll be in a good spot.
What's your favorite class you took at each of the two incredible institutions you've been at?
So I was going to be a journalism declared major at NYU, but Columbia doesn't have an undergrad journalism school. So I had to pivot to my minor anyway, which is sociology. So when I was at NYU, I got to take a sports journalism class with a professor named Mike, who is fantastic. He works at the Philadelphia Inquirer. He brought in so many different outlets for us guys who work for ESPN and things like that. We got to cover the Big East tournament for a little while. We got to go to the games and stuff, which is again crazy because when I was a sophomore, I was watching UConn play in my sports journalism class, and then a year later, I was on the court playing against UConn. So it was like this is nuts. Um, that class was awesome. I think it opened doors for me for the basketball world. I got to meet certain people in different avenues in hockey, basketball, baseball, football. Like it was just great to be a part of. I think the best class that I've taken at Columbia so far, a lot of it has been the core classes, just because I was behind on core credits when it came to transferring. But I took a class called the Sociology of Education, um, which is interesting to me because sociology is a very interesting topic in my eyes because of just people, and there's so many dimensions of what make people who they are and how they operate and how they grow up shapes who they become and what they say to people and how they act towards people, or environments dictate people's reactions to each other, that kind of thing. So doing a deeper dive into even just like being at a Ivy League institution as like a black athlete, it's like there's certain stigmas that come with certain athletes or certain races or certain genders or sexual orientations. Like there was just a lot to unpack about it. And I thought it was really cool, just like being able to, one of the assignments was going through your entire life story, kind of like this, but in a written form. It was just like where I came from, what like made me into who I am today. There's things that I encountered that I struggled with, that I thrived in, and just how I ended up at Columbia about to get a degree next spring.
Who's the
Mhm.
coolest like class guest or like person you've gotten to meet as a part of your academics so far in the run this
That's a
far?
good question. I don't know if this counts as through education because it was basketball related, but the Cavs practiced at our facility at NYU my sophomore year. So I got to re-meet Donovan Mitchell. Who else can I think of? Tyson Etienne is on a two-way contract with the Nets. He's who I probably talk to the most consistently because I met him through social media and through my friend Moose. Like he's awesome. There's like guys that I've wanted to meet that I'm closer to meeting than I think. But things that I've learned from him is just there's a level of detail that goes into how NBA players carry themselves there because like it's their job. So obviously like as a student you have to balance workouts and class, and as an NBA player it's like that your job is to play. So there's a level of focus taking into recovery. There's different like sometimes Tyson tells me like he works out for an hour in the morning, like all he does is dribble. And thinking about that in my head is like ridiculous. Like he spends a full hour just dribbling. And I love to dribble, I do. But it's like the level of detail that he's putting in to like to master his role to be able to get a contract is like it's what you have to do. And I think also he went to Wichita State and was a ridiculous scorer. But it's like he has also focused on becoming a defensive problem because he wants to find ways to stay on a team. So it's like him telling me that you have to find ways to get on the floor. In high school and college, it's easier to be the guy to go in and want to score, but it's like in NBA, you are in the tiniest percentage of the best basketball players on the planet. So there's less room for me, a 5'10" guard, to go in and try to score a lot. So you have to be a menace on defense. You have to be a fantastic passer, have a crazy assist turnover ratio. You have to be a vocal leader, be a locker room uplifter, things like that. And just like the mental side of the game too. Funny enough, I have a bunch of small world stories that always come up when I like explain things. But I was at his game, his first NBA start at the end of this past year, and I was talking to Moose about how I had kind of drifted away from my mental practices this year, and I feel like it kind of hindered how I was playing. And as I said that, I got a tap on my shoulder from Tyson's mental health coach who was sitting behind me. So we had an hour and a half conversation during his
Oh,
game about ways to continue to maintain your mental strength
that was
because
meant to be.
it had to be.
That
Because
was pretty helpful.
I was in the midst of a struggle. I was like, look, dude, I used to meditate before a game. I used to feel all zen and calm, and now I get in the game and I'm like, what's going on? So like there was that, but it's also just like, yeah, there's things like that just that I've learned from being around high level guys. I just like I can't wait to continue to use.
Well, you talk to the mental coach. That's an amazing opportunity. Like the whole universe blessed you with a free session in the middle of a basketball game. That's really cool. Was
Yeah,
there anything that got? What would he tell you? That like, 'cause I mean, this had to be like these coaches are incredible. So
crazy.
was he able to get something that did he help break through? Did he help you get some of those practices back on track? Give you new practices? What lasted from that conversation that's helped you now?
So I swore to myself that I'd always mention my mental health coach from NYU every time I talk about mental health because my entire persona has grown to be the mental health advocate of sports because of how I've dealt with it growing up. I've had bad anxiety my whole life. So I always want to talk about how I can help benefit others. I made a brand about it. I post about it all the time. I have a tattoo, two tattoos talking about it. Like I've always wanted to do that. So back to that. Ari, who has his own brand called Ari's Sports and Performance, I think it's called, or I'll get that right. But he was our mental health coach at NYU, and he introduced the concept of mental health and being something you have to train and practice to me. Because for me, it was always look, basketball is a physical game. You have to win the game, make more shots. But what he told me is that basketball is won in different ways. You can be the better team and lose a game. You can be the more skilled team and lose a game. But a lot of the time, the most mentally prepared players are those who play the best. So he would bring us clips of Donovan Mitchell, for, as an example, about how he has the same deep breath free throw routine every time he shoots. And when he doesn't do it, there's examples of him missing shots because it's like your breathing is so vital, but people take it for granted because you breathe subconsciously every second of your life. But when you can slow down, he says, wiggle your toes or embrace the now is what he says. So if you embrace, like if you put your feet on the floor, like recognize where you are, take deep breaths, everything just slows down. And I did that before every game. I put both my headphones in. I listened to a minute and a half song that I had queued because it was very low, mellow. It was very just like calming, relaxing. For every game, I came up with these affirmations that I use that I have written on a card that I put in every locker that I've ever had, or the two lockers that I've had, I guess, since then. So I've done that. But just like those practices about training your mental health instead of just talking about it or thinking about it. Like there's ways that you can truly strengthen how you think about the game when it comes to positive body language, positive self-talk. A lot of people talk about like when they miss shots, they get super upset, they curse at themselves, that kind of thing. But even something as little as smiling when you miss a shot, it triggers your brain to be like, you're fine. The ball didn't go in the basket. You're not hurt. Like you're good. It's the next shot. But also it's like the ball doesn't know what happened on the last play. So you don't have to like you missed a shot. The ball's not like, oh, he missed. He's gonna miss again. Like every single play is new opportunity. So that's what he told me. um, Tyson's mental health coach talked to me about the importance of not making like mental health so polarized to just games. Like you shouldn't be only focusing on it when you're about to play a game. You shouldn't be like, oh, I'm gonna play, so now I'm gonna focus on it. You can do meditation for 2 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day to just help your overall well being be a lot more zen and calm, which can help translate. So example of what I've been doing that he told me is there's ways to try to channel your breathing, channel your mental health. So it's 100 degrees outside today, but walking to and from the gym, I had a long sleeve shirt on because if I'm able to calm myself down amidst how hot I feel with 100 degrees and sleeves, it's gonna be that much easier for me to do it when I'm tired in the fourth quarter of a game, when I'm stressed because I have school and practice, when I have 4 fouls and trying to get a stop. Like I need to be focused about things. I can go back to how I was feeling, and the practice that I put in now should help me in the future.
So your first coach, who's really was probably a person who's obviously much closer in your life on a day to day basis, was really helping you get that down on the court.
Mhm.
The kind of next step that you kind of came through you the day you get to sit down and get educated again was let's now take those practices off the court
Yeah.
so that when I get on the court they're already tuned up
Mhm.
because it really isn't you're balancing two jobs because you're doing both college basketball D1 high level player aspirations to get into the NCAA tournament trying to win a game. I've done it plenty of times and then B, being Columbia student and you're doing a
Yeah.
real degree, you're going to class, you know, it's those are both happening at the same time. So you really, really need those tools off the court because I think you probably learned this year that playing basketball at the D1 level, there's just a lot less of a room for error than
Mhm.
there is at the D3 level.
Very, very true. So I think the most vivid example of that is just like I didn't play a ton this year. Like I played a good amount, but in comparison to what I played last year, I was like I played significantly less minutes. So I felt like there was a leash on me, which bothered me to an extent because I wanted to have more freedom, XYZ. But it was also just like I had a new head coach. His job is to win. In some cases, if I'm not giving him what he's asking for, I'm not gonna play. So there's less room for error with that. There's like the D1 level, there's more, I don't want to say politics, but there's money involved with certain players and like with the Division 1 landscape, there's NIL stuff. There's a lot going on. So it's less just like, hey guys, we're a Division 3 team, let's go play basketball. Division 1, there's just like a lot more elements to it. But there's a lot. Like there's the lifts are more serious, the practices are more um organized. There's a lot more going into it. There's longer film sessions. There's longer road trips. There's harder classes, things of that nature. There's a lot going on.
What do you think the most challenging thing you've had to deal with so far as a college athlete has been?
As self harmful as this sounds, I want to say it's the pressure that I put on myself as a player. So I mentioned it before that I've had bad anxiety my whole life, and not to say that it's their fault, but being behind Spencer Friedman and Kenny Nolan didn't help necessarily. Because I don't think I'm a perfectionist, but I'm very, very close. Like I really, really like to get things right. And when I don't, it's really bothersome. So with basketball, I take it super, super seriously, like I mentioned before about my sophomore year. But I just like I think a lot about basketball and sometimes to my detriment. Like you mentioned, it's like I shot 48% from three. So when I miss shots, it's like was that a fluke? Is that not really who I am? Like, why am I not doing this the right way? Do my coaches think that I can't shoot or like things like that? Or even like when I have a bad practice, it's like, am I gonna get benched? Is all my process for nothing? Like, am I doing stuff wrong? It's really easy for me sometimes to be self-critical, which for some things has done a lot for me because I've always worked really hard because of it. But in some ways, this is hard for me to always see the good in what I've done because I've done a lot of good things. I'm a Division 1 transfer from a Division 3 school, which is something people don't do as a whole. But it's like
A
I
lot.
have really, really high hopes for myself, and I always have. So sometimes it's hard for me when I don't reach the goals that I want to not be down on myself. It's something that I'm really, really working on because, like I mentioned, and like I've been trying to tell myself, like basketball is a game where most times you are going to lose, whether it's You're gonna miss more shots than you make. You're gonna lose more games than you win. You're gonna get hurt sometimes, and it's not fair. Like it's not forgiving necessarily. Like there isn't something that's gonna like I can't just say if I do X, Y, and Z, like I'm gonna win. It's just like I have to put in the work for it. I have to do my best to try to do what I know can help me and pray for the best. And it's hard to let go sometimes, just like to let the result be the result and recognize like I don't have control over what happens. And saying it is what I'm trying to do so I can get it in my head and get into my subconscious. But sometimes it's like I put in 15 hours of work this week and I went 0 for 9 in the game. Like, what? That's not fair. But then some games I'll wake up, or some days I'll wake up and not stretch and then go have the best day of my life. It's like, all right, that's basketball.
Life,
So
pretty much, honestly.
it's life. So the biggest thing for me has been trying to let go, to not overthink, because I feel like I play best when I'm not thinking. Because I just let myself trust the reps that I've put in, trust the work that I've put in, the 15 years now, or sorry, that's baseball. 14 years or so now that I've used playing basketball to will me to where I'm supposed to be. I got here doing what I do, so I gotta trust that. I just trust that I'll continue to work.
And so you show up there, and the best player in the entire country in D3 is sitting in front of you. That's gonna, even though it's helpful, because it's like it didn't help you in terms of
Yeah.
making you a better basketball player. Look at the results. You go shoot 48% from three the next year. So being around Spencer absolutely helped you. It's just it didn't help your anxiety in that moment when you get there and you want to be great. And this guy in front of you, it looks like there's nothing you could ever possibly do
Yeah.
to no one in the whole country could compete with whatever he was doing. So it wasn't like there was anything you or anyone in practice was going to do, because that dude was he was good. To put it
Rid-
simply.
it's yeah, it was ridiculous. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's a lot of what I've tried to tell myself mentally, because I'm doing a lot of mental health work, is that even times where I do struggle, where I have anxiety attacks, where I feel like I'm not doing the best, it's like all of it is to help me move forward. I feel like if I didn't struggle my freshman year at NYU, I wouldn't have been motivated to play better my sophomore year. If this year went according to plan, maybe I wouldn't be as hungry to have a good year next year. And maybe the fifth year wouldn't have gotten passed and things of that nature. Because it's like, all things considered, I'm in a pretty good spot, I feel like, when it comes to the landscape of life. I'm going to have an Ivy League degree, one more year to go play and hopefully make money. I've learned a lot, met a lot of people. I'm healthy. My family's healthy. I have a great bond with the Lord. I have a great girlfriend. Like, I have great friends. Like, broad scheme of things, I'm doing pretty well in life. So there's a lot
I'd
of
agree
things
with you.
that I've gone through to get here, but it's like I feel like some of it was really needed.